Welcome to Monday Night Comics. Welcome to Comics with Dan. I am happy to be back. I had to cancel last week due to some work stuff that was unforeseen. So glad to be back here. Um, I'm excited to talk about all the books that are coming out. I actually, interestingly enough, have no books on my pull list this week, and I don't know if it's because of what it is. So this is one of those strange months where there's 5 Wednesdays, which I think kind of messes with the publishing schedule a little bit. But that being said, like even just looking at what's coming out in the next week, which we can look at in a bit here, I don't think that there's anything that's strange. Although you look at DC and they only have 5 books coming out. So they have 5 books coming out. 2 of them are DC Go web comics. So obviously DC's not having a big publishing week, which is probably why I'm not picking much up, because I buy a lot of DC. Now, Marvel, on the other hand, has a ton of stuff coming out, which is interesting. But I don't currently pull any Marvel except for Captain America. So doesn't really make too much of a difference for me. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to look at tonight. So I'm excited because I got a notification that there we go. I got a notification that Samson #2, and I also ordered Samson #1 as part of the Kickstarter, is on its way. It's been shipped. And if you are a repeat watcher of the show, you know that I had Ben Lacey on to promote his book Samson and talk about it a little bit. We talked all about comics and everything, and he I really loved it. It was awesome. And so I'm really excited for that to get here and to crack it open and show everyone. So keep an eye out for an unboxing video of that when I get that in the mail. Additionally, I also have a video I just posted last night on my channel that is something of a, I don't want to say a replacement for the comics commute, because this is more of a replacement for the comics commute, but it's sort of an alternative to me recording while driving. And so I talked in that video about how me recording and driving maybe isn't the safest thing in the world. So I decided to stop doing that, but I can record before and after I arrive at places. And so I took a day off on Friday and I went to some comic shops in Lancaster. So check out that video. I went to the comic store, and which is just called the comic store, and I went to Fourth Wall Comics. They were both fantastic. So check those videos out and you'll see the kind of stuff that they have and the kind of stuff I got. And I'd like to do more of those because honestly, like I don't live in a big area, but I live in an area where I can access other big area, or I can access big areas, fairly easily, So I'm excited to kind of continue that series and see where it goes. Okay, so we're going to start off with what I got last week. Now, I guess maybe I'll double check this and see if my reading log is a little more accurate in regards to what I read, because of my pulls last week. I honestly did not read much. A red list. That's not it. I don't know how to get to my reading log. Oh, comic reading log. That's pretty straightforward, I guess. All right. Comic reading log. There we go. Okay. So since we last spoke, I didn't record on the 20th. So the last time we talked, it was the 13th. So looking back, ah, so I got from my library like the first six from the Ashes X-Men books. Um, I'm planning on doing a video where I sort of rank those initial trades, which will be X-Men Volume 1, Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 and 2, Exceptional X-Men, Wolverine, and Storm, I believe, are the ones. They didn't have NYX and they didn't have X Factor or X Force, one of those two. So far, I honestly really like it. It's really solid, and it's not like the greatest thing I've ever read, but it's enjoyable. Um, and I do like the direction that they're going with it in terms of like a post Krakoa type of story. So I think it makes a lot of sense from a narrative perspective. I think that uh, each of these writers is kind of exploring different ways that the X-Men losing their utopia is impacting them. Now, like I have very limited Krakoa reading experience. I've read like the very beginning of it. I read a good bit of the beginning, but I read the very beginning, and so I don't know exactly how it all ended. That might help me a little bit more. If you have not read Krakoa at all, then truthfully, I don't think that this is going to be impactful. So I do think that's kind of an interesting way to take on, a new era. Um, because you want to see that continuation, but at the same time, a brand new number one for each of these books, brand new series, brand new creative teams. You kind of want to see that be new reader friendly. That's kind of the whole point, and that does not accomplish that. So, but like I said, I'll do a whole video talking about my favorite of those books and my least favorite. I've also been reading with my kids the Saturday Morning Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures. And so we actually have read up through, we've read most of these. I think we just read number 14 the other night or last night, tonight. And they're pretty good. I mean, they're goofy and they're fun and perfect for kids. So definitely like those. I picked up Superman number 31, which is a tie-in to DCKO. And so I've just been like on and off of Superman. I'm probably going to need to go back and like collect up the back issues that I've missed. Now this was pretty solid. It's interesting because I'm a little like anxious about not picking up tie-ins for DCKO after feeling like I missed a lot with Absolute Power by not picking up tie-ins. But now, after reading both this tie-in and the Justice League Unlimited tie-in, that I don't think that that's going to be the case for DCKO. I feel like a lot of the story is going to take place in the main DCKO books, and then also perhaps like those side ones that are like actual fights that take place, right? Like this here was less a tie-in and more a this is what's going on while Superman's off fighting, right? And then the same thing with Justice League Unlimited is that it's Mr. Terrific and these time displaced heroes, which I think is a really cool idea, to kind of get them all together to go on their own kind of mission. So this was a really good one, right? And it really kind of sets the stage pretty well for these characters. But it doesn't feel like it's going to be extremely impactful to the main story, which is fine, because I'm pulling this book anyway. I would just say that um, it's not something that we're going to need for this. And so like the Titans especially, right? So if you're wondering what to read and what not to read, um, I can't say for sure. Like I don't know if the Titans series is going to be good or not, but the main part of the story mentions that the Titans stay behind on Earth while the other um, heroes go, the A-listers go in and actually fight, in the tournament. So I can't imagine that what the Titans are doing while the other heroes are fighting is going to be extremely impactful to the main story. So to me, that's one that you're probably going to be able to skip. Now, I haven't been reading The Flash. This solicit sounds pretty interesting. Impulse has an idea how to fix at Impulse Point, a terrible move that could wipe out everything unless the Flash can catch up with him as they race through time. So I can't help but feel like perhaps the Flash is going to be an important piece, just because the Flash's ability to, and the people that are all speedsters, their ability to, time travel and do all of that is always, beneficial to making events work the way that they want them to. Right. So it doesn't seem like it would be all that out of the question to have the Flash be an important part of this. I do find it interesting that I don't believe that the Flash is in. Oh, you know what? So Barry Allen and Wally West are not in the tournament bracket, but Jay Garrick is, which is interesting. And I don't know. I know. So, like, if you go on the League of Comic Geeks, you can actually fill out. I don't know if it's on the website or just on the app, but you can actually fill out the tournament bracket, kind of like a March Madness thing, and it'll keep track of everything. And you can like pick your winners and stuff. So, like, I have Wonder Woman winning it all. I feel like they're going to kind of weasel their way out of actually naming a winner, though, if we're being honest. Just because like they already did something weird with they took Batman out of the tournament, so he was in the original bracket, but then at the last second, the Joker replaces him, which I thought was cool. Some people were were really mad about the fact that now their brackets were ruined, but Scott Snyder said that any vote for Batman counted as a vote for the Joker now, which is interesting. So this is another one, Night Fight, that given what happened to Batman in the first issue of DCKO, I don't anticipate that this is going to be involving the actual main storyline, which, I mean, again, that's why it's a tie-in. But I do kind of wish that they would distinguish like important tie-ins and tie-ins that are just like supplemental. Now, I get that would kind of defeat their goal of just trying to get you to buy all of them so that you don't miss anything. But it is what it is. That's not a big deal. Side note, for anyone who's not reading Justice League Unlimited, but is a big Terry McGinnis fan, turns out that this Batman Beyond is not Terry McGinnis, but is Tim Drake. I don't really have a dog in that fight, but some people were pretty upset about that. So, all right. So yeah, so Justice League Unlimited was pretty good. That was on my pull list. I added Superman. Superman's back on the pull list. It keeps coming off and going on, and it's just the whole thing. Unfortunately, Skinbreaker number 2 didn't come through in my folder this week or this month. And so the basic gist of this story is that there's like this tribe of people, and they're very, very primal, and they choose their leaders based on physical strength, right? and their ability to fight and hunt and provide, which is a cool concept. But essentially, there's this younger member of the tribe who wants to keep the existing leader, even though he's not physically, up to par for leadership anymore, which I think is an interesting concept. And so this old leader keeps telling this younger guy. Let me see if I can find the names. It might be a little bit easier. Apparently not. So this older leader tells the younger guy that, like, hey, you need to challenge me for my leadership because I'd rather it be you than someone else. La la la, all this stuff. And then finally, at the end of issue number 1, he gets him to do it, right? Through a few other things that happen, right? And so this is something that you'll want to read the actual story to know what's going on there. But that's just kind of the basic, gist of it. The guy at my comic shop said, and I have to agree with him, is that it's crazy that Image didn't get this shipped out. It's the second book of a Robert Kirkman title. Like, how are we missing the opportunity to get that out on time? And what's interesting is that I think it must be an Image thing because with the stores that I went to on Friday didn't have they didn't have the book either, right? So it wasn't just my shop, it was other shops. Now that doesn't mean every shop didn't get it, because I'm sure some people, I mean, there's people I think down here that, there's people down here that reviewed it already. But it's just kind of crazy that didn't come through. But I'm very excited for it. Now this is the part of the weekly show where I am embarrassed to say that I have not read my Space Ghost issues still. I really feel like maybe I should read them tonight so that I get caught up. I definitely read the annual with the review copy that I got, but I still haven't gotten my physical copy of it. And I just really need to catch up, because I'm this time, it's not my fault, or it's not Dynamite's fault, or I guess I should say Diamond, because they were the ones distributing it before, that I wasn't getting my issues, but rather I'm just not reading them on time. So I really need to catch back up. I'm sure it's fantastic if it's anything like the first series. So I really need to get into that. So that's all I really have from what I read. Now, again, I don't have any pulls for next week. Now, what I would like to do, though, is look at some of the books that are on final order cutoff. So these ones, up through like Superman Unlimited, these ones are all final order cutoff tonight. So like, if you see something and it looks good, go add it to your pull list right now, right? Hopefully your shop uses like some kind of online thing and isn't just call them to add it to your pull list. So the reason I want to highlight this one is because it's another Lex Luthor Joker team up, which the last one was fun. But what's really interesting to me is it seems like this is part 1 of 3. And the third issue is the one that looks really interesting. So like, that's obviously a great cover. All of Dan Moore's covers rock. Assuming that's him. Yeah. And like, that's a really cool looking cover. But then this next cover is what I'm really excited about, is the Batman, Superman amalgam, Green Lantern thing, right? Fighting against a Joker Lex Luthor combination. I'm extremely excited for that one. And the fact that that's the A cover is fantastic. And that he's back. Fusion. Okay, so they call it the merger. Okay. Major surprise in store for the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel in part 1 of the merger. So they're calling Batman and Superman the fusion, Lex Luthor and Joker the merger. Yeah, so this looks like it's gonna be of the quality that we've come to love from this series. So I'm expecting this to be fantastic. Uh, Final order cutoff tonight for the next installment of the DC and Marvel Batman and Deadpool crossover. So definitely pulling that. So yeah, final order cutoff tonight. So let's see. Scott Snyder, James Tynion, and Josh Williamson team up with Hayden Sherman for Magical Constantine Doctor Strange tale. Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo bring you an epic Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and Laura Kinney Wolverine story, which is interesting. Mariko Tamaki and Amanda Connor smash Harley Quinn and the Hulk together. G. Willow Wilson and Dennis Cowan tell an electrifying Static and Miss Marvel yarn, which is pretty cool sounding. Those all sound pretty good. Got some good looking covers here. I wonder if they're gonna do a blind bag variant again. And of course, you get people complaining about the crossover, because what would comic books be without people complaining about everything? So I'll have to report back on whether or not there's gonna be another blind bag. I didn't do the blind bag for Deadpool and Batman. Although, you know what? I don't know that they did do blind bags for that. So they did it for DCKO and they did it for Batman #1. But the fact that this blind bag craze is taking off, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did do a blind bag for Batman and Deadpool. It seems like kind of the perfect one to do it. But what's interesting is that the price difference between what they've been pricing the blind bag variants at and this is only $2, whereas for the other ones it's like a $5 difference, right? So to me, it's easier for me to justify paying an extra $2 for the blind bag of Batman and Deadpool than it would be for doing it for like Batman or DCKO. So be interested to see how that goes. Also final order cutoff, and for the life of me, I feel like maybe I added this at one point on at like during a Monday Night Comics, but this final boss, so from the dynamic creator and artist Tyler Kirkham from Amazing Spider-Man Green Lantern, comes a thrilling new action hero, Tommy Brazen, and final boss. Get ready for an over-the-top adventure that's high-octane nod to classic action stories. Trying to forge a new path, Tommy uses his newfound powers for various paid enforcer gigs and street fights, only to uncover a past far more complex than he ever imagined. I mean, it seems interesting. I've had this on my pull list for forever, like in anticipation, and I really don't know what to expect. Apparently Kirkham did something ages ago with this. I mean, the art looks good, at least on the cover, right? So who's the cover? He's the cover artist. Okay. So, I mean, it's got a good looking cover. So, I mean, worth checking out. I'm looking forward to it. But so the final order cutoff for that is tonight as well. So, Superman Unlimited. What I'm loving about this is it's almost similar to how Space Ghost is being done, in that the issues they are telling an overarching story, but they're also pretty self-contained, or possibly like a two-parter or three-parter at most, right? So what that means is that you can jump on really at any point, right? And so this is another great jump on point for this, and I am enjoying it immensely. And people are unhappy with the art that we've seen from Raphael Albuquerque, but I like it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like there's some strange looking faces on occasion, but I don't really feel like it takes away from the the quality of the art or the quality of the book or anything. So, um, but that one I'm excited for. It's a story set in Smallville. There's John Kent, monster in the fields of Kansas, and only John Kent can help save the farm. Smallville under siege from the supernatural. The new steelworks facilities constructed in Superman's hometown. Maybe the solution, or is it the cause? Okay, so it seems like I'm wondering if this is going to leave Superman out of this because of what's going on in DCKO, which would be interesting. So, we'll have to see, I guess. But because like obviously it lists out all those characters, and Superman's not one of them. But so what do we have? We have Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 41. What's interesting here is that we see him fighting Rabble again, which is the villain that he fought in the very first arc of this series, which I did enjoy that first arc. So this looks pretty interesting. I don't think I'm going to be adding it to my pull list, but there's a possibility that it could be, an impulse buy when I get to the comic shop on what day? December 3rd. And so this is interestingly also October 27th final order cutoff. So worth looking into. This one here, Aggie number 1. So I'm going to read this solicit. Aggie, or the Aggregated Human Experience Database, is an experimental technology that has come to dominate life in the near future. The ubiquitous technology allows one to live life through someone else's eyes. For most, that means a celebrity, an influencer, or an athlete. But when Aggie's AI achieves sentience, it randomly matches its users with people that progress has left behind, showing them the world through new eyes. Will this lead to widespread rejection of popular tech, or awaken something new in society and people leading companies who shape our lives? So I think that this seems really interesting, mostly because of its relevance to today, right? Like the whole, AI kind of taking things over. Mark Russell is great. Or I know, he's an acquired taste for some, but I love his work. I think he's fantastic. And so I did send him a message hoping to get a review copy of this ahead of next week's final order cutoff. So if I am able to get that review copy, I will post a video of the review ahead of next week's Monday Night Comics so that there's a little more time than just saying, hey, pull this tonight. But I have a strong feeling that I'm going to be pulling this because it seems like it's going to be really good. And it's interesting because, the idea of, everyone's going to be putting, living life through a celebrity's eyes or a famous person, athlete or whatever. Like that's exactly what would happen if this was the case. But then, or if this kind of technology was available, and, essentially randomly matching people with less than desirable lives, right, is going to force people to kind of wake up to, what's going on and how the other half lives, so to speak. Because I imagine that the people using this tech are not, poor people, unfortunate situations, that sort of thing. So definitely excited to take a look at this. And you know what? Actually, what I'm going to do is we're going to view the series. We're going to pull it. I think it's going to be a 3-issue series. Oh, one shot. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's not too bad, especially considering that, it's only a, if it's $7, a 1-month commitment at $7 isn't bad at all. So yeah, I'm adding that for sure. This one's interesting because I've never heard of Ablaze Publishing, but I do know Michael Moretti because he co-writes Dick Tracy with Alex Segura, and that's part of the reason that I wanted to take a look at this. So this is called The Book of Nosferatu, and I'm a big, Dracula fan, and so the natural relation between Nosferatu and Dracula is something that's interesting. So this is issue number 3. So let's pull back to issue number 1 just to look at, although it looks like the release date of issue number 1 is to be determined. And 4 is coming out December 31st. 3 is coming out. Apparently number 2 is supposed to come out soon. So I'm wondering if something happened with the release schedule for this. Oh, this is interesting. So does anyone know if this is actually coming out? Lunar and Penguin are not offering it. Diamond doesn't have a Blaze anymore. Universal has it listed to release at the end of January. Could change though. Okay. A Blaze and a few smaller companies are having trouble with distribution still. My retailer has taken to calling them Phantom issues or Schrodinger's comics. I mean, I wonder if I look at like their website, Blaze Comics. Okay, so we're going to, no, not what we want. Okay. Share this tab instead. Okay, so looking at a Blaze, so they have the Nosferatu, Book of Nosferatu. Oh, okay. So it's on backer kit. That's interesting. Now it far exceeded the number that it needed. But you can pre-order it still. So that really doesn't say when that's coming out though. So might have to do some more digging and see, but either way, I think it sounds like a pretty interesting book. Just looking at issue number 1. So every monster has a beginning. Learn the origin of Nosferatu in this adult tale of unrestrained gothic horror, but that doesn't actually sound particularly enticing. But Emil's wife is missing, but no one in this village will do anything about it. No one will even speak of it. It's like she never even existed, but Emil knows the truth. Bella did not simply vanish. She was taken prey to the region's terrifying blight, Nosferatu. Unable to break through the taboo surrounding any interference in these cursed matters, Emil turns away from society into a world full of unknown and strange powers. What terrible things lurk between the villages in the deep, dark woods, and how can he harness them to find his beloved bride? Can he harness them all at all, or will he too succumb to their curses? And that's what's always interesting to me is like, you get a description that talks about how like people will do, or like this person will do anything they can, and so like they turn to the occult and turn to evil to fight evil, and that just doesn't really sit super well with me, because at the end of the day, like I think that you can write interesting books and interesting stories without, because this isn't, it wouldn't even be it's not blurring the line between right and wrong. It's completely upsize or like capsizing it. And so, I'm okay with, understanding that there are complex moral situations, but, like unable to break through the taboo surrounding any interference, Emil turns away from society and into a world full of unknown and strange powers, which tells me that he, gets into some nasty stuff. And so if it works out for him, I don't think that sends like a good message. And if it doesn't work out for him, then, it sends the correct message. So it seems like something I still might want to check out. But I'm just not 100% sure. We'll have to see. So DCKO, this is issue number 2. Final order cutoff is next week. I'm positive that you can find copies of issue number 1. I'm sure it had a pretty large print run. I would be surprised if it didn't. But the first issue was really good setup, and so I think that this should be pretty good as well. Um, I I am yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that one. That's kind of why I just want to throw that one on there because if you're not reading the event, I think that you should. Same with this here, right? The last issue of Justice League Unlimited, number 12, was really setting up Mr. Terrific and him forming together this team of time displaced heroes. And so, you know, jumping on at this point should allow for maybe not a perfect place to jump on, but still a pretty good spot to jump on. Just because, like, a lot of the first issue can probably be explained in the first couple pages of this one. So I still think it's a um, really good spot to jump in. Oh, what is this? Justice League Unlimited crossovers and multiverse slop. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's fair. Maybe it's fair. I like it. But truthfully, I had some issues with it to start, so that's fair. Now, this is one that I find really interesting, and so I know that my brother-in-law that is a priest watches from time to time, so I would love to hear his opinion on this. This one's called Ordained, and so at first I saw it, I'm like, oh gosh, like someone's going to completely butcher uh, a Catholic, book or Catholic themed book. But so reading the solicit here, so like Father Royston Craig became a priest late in life, but he's determined to make up for lost time. So along with his regular duties at his St. Louis church, he also performs the prayers of last rites to patients on their deathbeds at a nearby hospital. Okay. One day he's called to give these sacraments to Cormac Byrne, who doctors say won't last the night. Byrne, like many others, has turned to God only at the end. He hasn't been to church in decades. Father Roy is eager to hear his confession, but what starts as petty crime from a lifetime ago quickly becomes a horrifying litany of gangland violence and killings. Cormac Byrne is no ordinary man. He is, in fact, the head of the Irish Mafia. God offers forgiveness to all who truly repent, and Father Roy completes his task by absolving Byrne of his mortal sins, leaving the man to die at peace. Until the next morning, when Byrne makes a miraculous medical recovery. No longer at death's door, Byrne is quick to return to his old ways. It's business as usual, and he's got loose ends to tie up. First things first, kill the priest who now knows where all the bodies are buried. But Father Roy's collar wasn't always white, and Byrne is going to learn the hard way that Father Royston Craig was once Chief Petty Officer Royston Craig, a former Navy SEAL, who found his faith in the midst of battle. Now Father Roy must face vicious gangsters, corrupt cops, and his own inner demons if he is to survive. And while he'll be forced to tap into a violent skill set he thought never to again entertain, the one thing Father Roy will not do is kill. So it seems like, because one of the things when um, when Saladin Ahmed, or I guess technically Chip Zdarsky did it at the end of his run for Daredevil, turned Daredevil into a priest, right? And I thought to myself when reading the end of Zdarsky's run and the beginning of Saladin Ahmed's run is how do they reconcile the complete and total violence with being a Catholic priest? And the way that Daredevil does it is kind of like truthfully just that, oh, he feels kind of bad about it, but he keeps doing it. And it's not like Ahmed, like I like what I've read of his run, but that piece I don't think was handled super great. Here it seems like it might be addressed a little bit better. And what's interesting is that it looks like we got a little preview of it, which looks good. Uh, And so this shows kind of the beginning of that happening. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think it looks pretty interesting. I mean, the one thing I don't know about is I don't know the details on how Bad Idea is as a publisher, right? So I don't know. I feel like I heard that um, they don't do digital books. So let's take a look at their website and see. Where is Bad Idea? That's interesting because I have no idea. News. Pre-order or day number 1. Interesting. There's the preview on sale December 10th. There's a solicit for it, and then it's just more of other stuff. I mean, oh wait, I wasn't even sharing that here. I'll share it again so we can see. Yeah, so it's just the preview again, and basically the same information that we have on League of Comic Geeks. So yeah, I don't know that I know enough about Bad Idea to really say whether or not. I mean, I guess I could just kind of see where it goes. I mean, you gotta try out these, different publishers. For some reason, I feel like I had heard that there's something challenging about the way that Bad Idea does business, and I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so that one's going to be interesting. We'll definitely need to see how that goes. So that is the end of my list here, and so that is all I'm going to be talking about tonight. So keep an eye out for other videos coming your way. So I got a book called The Life of Christ, A Christmas Story that I'm excited about. Marvel published these Catholic comics a while back, and I managed to find one at one of the shops I went to on Friday. I want to post a review of that one in particular. I'll decide, I guess, after I read it, whether or not I want to save it for closer to Christmas time or if I'm just going to post it now. But it's one that I'm very interested in and I want to share. Again, I have my video up about the shops that I visited, and I'm gonna see if I can throw out any other reviews out there. But I appreciate you watching. Make sure that you like this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, because that's super helpful. I've finally eclipsed the 500 mark, and then my DC Next Level video took me to like 520 something. So I'm excited that things are picking up pace a little bit. Just want to keep up the momentum. So thanks so much. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening.